not often we get calm weather, no wind, and nice mild temperature. So you just had to go out and kind of score. You could tell there was a lot of decent scores coming in early. And I mean, I just kind of knew, you know, because of the weather, I was going to have lots of opportunities to score today.
It's beautiful out here. It's maybe 75 degrees, light humidity, and you know, I started a little shaky. I was a little nervous on hole 1, left a little short, missed hole 1, and then I went on to get 7 straight after that, and I just kept it rolling.
I love the course. I love the mix of the open and wooded. You know, I love the gaps off the tee, how precise you have to be, how rough the rough can be. You know, the open holes still provide a lot of scoring separation depending on which way the wind's blowing especially. So super impressed with the course. I had a blast today, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 rounds. I
don't think it's like anyone's playing more or less aggressive. I think it's just, you know, the conditions are more favorable and everyone's just a little more comfortable out here. So you're going to have to score super low to win this event this week if the weather stays the same.
Obviously, I'm coming off the Memorial. Didn't finish that tournament how I wanted, so I'm a little heated. So I'm trying to play aggressive right now. You got the momentum, you got the confidence, so just keep it rolling, don't do anything different, and make putts.
Hello and welcome to the 2023 Waco Annual Charity Open. You are watching round 2 coverage on JomezPro. Again, it is the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I am Nate Sexton. That is Jeremy Koling, and that is Paul Ulibarri.
Another beautiful day coming up in Waco. It's heating up. I mean, we were talking about some pretty cold temperatures a couple weeks ago in Las Vegas, but highs in the mid-80s here in Waco. And the wind has picked up a little bit. You imagine that was going to happen sooner or later. It's never calm for the entire event. But something that's not calm right now is that sale going on. Right now, JomezPro 50% off the Slomez discs, 20% off everything else. Innova, Adam Hammis. I really do think course record, right? 12 under, first round. Those new trees that have been planted throughout the course. It's a different course. 12 under is a great start out here. Calvin Heimburg on his heels. I mean, my goodness, this guy is a familiar face on Jomez these days. He is just playing so well. Be exciting to see how he plays this track, which is vastly different to Las Vegas. And welcome back to Jomez. Nikko Locastro out here giving out red cards, yellow cards, and goals and everything out here in the striped uniform. But be exciting to see Nikko out here, an event he has won in the past. And also another familiar face out here, an incredible putter, James Proctor. His game is smooth. He's got versatility, forehand, backhand skills, and he just looks cool doing it.
Hole 1, par 3, 291. Up the middle is a very viable option. Spike hyzer is usually the play. Today we have a right to left, kind of crossing headwind. Out of bounds on the left, wall on the right. I think you're going to see a lot of straight shots here today. Has a little canopy of trees to the right, which is tough to get the hyzer wide enough.
This hole for me plays tricky with this headwind.
Yeah, you see this one lift.
Yeah, and this is in that hill really does catch those hyzers nicely, but that is a lot shorter than Adam would like to be.
Order for your 250 tee time from Safety Harbor, Florida, representing Innova Champion Disc, Calvin Heimburg.
He's one gust away from being out of bounds right there.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the best shot, but he's very happy to be in bounds right now.
I don't care what kind of headwind there is. Calvin loves this straight shot with overstable putters, and he's gonna barely hang on.
Wow. That straight low shot, I believe to be the shot if you feel confident in it, stay below the wind. But that one did almost get away from Calvin.
Calvin is going to have a pretty tricky putt, though, to the left there. That basket's way down the hill. Tall guy. Push putter.
Mm-hmm.
Tough little putt there. Does have that tailwind, though. This thing is extremely overstable.
Nikko, in round 1, he went down the middle and put it under the basket, and then he elects to go for the hyzer in the headwind. A good shot until he gets the roll away. He's going to have to...
It's still a good shot. I love the super overstable, like Yuli said. You see how that bounces straight forward because the thing is hitting almost vertical. Great play. James,
I like that.
Similar stability. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that one. Trusting that width and the height on this hole can be difficult. You got those tall bushes on the right side by the basket. Adam Hammis now long range putt for birdie, a little bit off.
Be careful with that wall down to the right, too. It is safe, but the line is on the inside. So if you do have a leaner like Nikko, it's very possible for that to be OB. He doesn't catch the out of bounds, but I saw somebody catch it.
That would be a horrible break.
Yeah.
Thank you. About the same thing.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah, somebody looked a lot like me. A little madder than me, usually.
Nikko with a good birdie putt. Calvin with that awkward downhill, and that is very awkward. That is not a putt you really practice. That's like a tournament-only situation where you're going out there standing about 5 feet above the basket and putting downhill.
Almost an impossible putt for him if that wind was switched from straight headwind. That is so weird to try to putt downward, nose down with a headwind.
A lot of players will get down to a knee to kind of mitigate that downhill nature, but birdies for James, Calvin, and Nikko. And our leader now becomes our co-leader at 12 under.
Gosh, a way better start for these guys. Remember last time they were in 90th after the first hole, and look at these guys. They were all mixing it up in the top 20 already. Love to see it. I might not know how scoring works. Hole 2, par 4. 631 feet. This one's got the OB down the right side, lots of room on the left. You'd like to just hit that flat backhand right through this gap, right in where the drone is flying. Push it up into those trees as far as possible. Because the green is sneaky small and it is elevated, you have some thick grass up there to catch you, but definitely looking to push 450 here.
Into the headwind today. It doesn't look... Well, you can see the flags on the right side of the fairway. They're moving pretty quick.
This has got to get down.
Yeah, this is potentially in danger of that sidewalk just hanging on.
So is he going inside on purpose there, or is that an early release, do you think?
It's hard to say with Calvin on this one.
I've seen a lot of guys taking this inside line, like left of the tree that Nikko's about to hit.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, are people doing that intentionally?
As much inside as it was, it certainly I would imagine he was going for inside, but...
I would say yes, they're going inside, and the reason for that is somebody like Calvin, you would like to be left, because if you're straight down the middle, it's an awkward shot into the green.
Little turnover or
the
something.
farther left you are, it actually brings that hyzer into play to where you can have an easier angle.
Yeah, see, this same thing. Gotta be intentional, I would think, and that looks nice. Ooh, get off of that tree.
Now with this headwind, the approach becomes quite tricky. It's
Wow.
Nikko going super high wide. That's trusting stability of that disc, and that just not
That
good.
was a crazy shot.
Well, that was a crazy sequence from tying a shoe to just ripping. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
And Nikko trusting the width again and getting the skip.
Wow.
And that's just a foot right of catching the wrong side of that path and not getting back in bounds. So Nikko flirting with ultra disaster here early.
Yeah, as you can see how he's able to throw that hyzer into the green. He has the one tree to miss, but that's a very comfortable angle to throw in, especially with that crosswind.
The thing that surprises me on that out of bounds shot up and over is that he didn't send that to a booth review immediately.
Wow. Let's leave the dumb jokes for me, Nate, okay?
I can get one
All
every
right.
once in a while, and I would have reviewed it.
This hole becomes just, infinitely harder in a headwind. You have the putting becomes an issue, obviously, with the raised basket, always an issue when there's wind. But the distance and the approach is just, wow. Calvin really hanging on by a thread here on the left side of the fairway, rather.
He went so left that the forehand comes back into play again. Great support from the fans, as always, out here. Lots of people in the park.
Man, it felt like Sunday. Driving into the course, it was incredibly packed. That is a solid putt there. Good bogey save. That could have been just a round ender right from the beginning.
Sure.
I mean, Waco essentially plays like a sprint. This place, a lot of birdies, and the big bogey opportunities really don't come into play until late. This stretch is very important to get these birdies as Calvin just gets that over the rim.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that approach that skipped off the sidewalk with a slow speed disc. I mean, if that stays out, we're talking about a 7, just that quick.
Yeah, lucky he had a lot of spin on that. A lot of gyro kind of spin, like that chicken gyro.
What do you think James is worried about with this umbrella? I didn't hear much talk about any kind of rain.
I mean, the sun
can never be too
86
careful.
degrees and sunny. I mean, it's
maybe.
Protect yourself.
Maybe.
Calvin off to the good start as he gets that putt over the rim, and he remains tied with Adam now at 13 under par. Hole 3, 320 feet, made a little bit more difficult with these little trees here that you see the mulch planted at the base. That little backhand flex line that you see a lot of players opting to go for becomes a little bit tighter. There's also the wide through the tree forehand shot. I don't think we're going to see anyone go with a big spike hyzer today. Nothing wrong with that.
Splits the trees. That's exactly what you want. You are right about that, Jerm. There you are, up in the corner.
You saw me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I believe I do remember playing hole 13 at this time.
Nice little counter right into the circle.
Little bit tight, perhaps? No.
You know, Adam's one of those players that is interesting to me. He just doesn't care who you are, how good you are. Seems like he gets into the mix once in a while and he stays there.
Sure.
He's not like, your Paul Macbeth or even your Calvin Heimburg, who's always there every single time. But I can't help but think even the best players in the world, when he's there,
He's dangerous.
he's dangerous, yeah, and he has to be respected.
Oh, for sure.
In that way. I mean, I don't think he got a win last year, but the year before, 2 Elite Series, so it's coming.
One of 4 players of all time, I believe the stat was, to win a National Tour and a Disc Golf Pro Tour in the same season. And James showing off why he's here.
Wow.
Huge putt on hole 3, elevated basket.
That's surprising to me to run that putt from there after laying it up on hole 2. So that was a good little change of the mindset.
That wind ripping. I know Nikko wants to see everything fall, but that you can't get too upset about that because that's a hard putt to make, especially as a right-handed putter with that right to left crosswind. It's a little bit easier angle where Adam is going from the headwind side. It's the left-to-right movement isn't quite as dramatic.
But do you understand what I'm saying about Adam? He just has that attitude to where
Just-
he
yeah, of
keeps to
course.
himself and he's just there to win the tournament and he doesn't care what anybody says.
Yeah, not intimidated by the moment.
No.
Solid delivery from Calvin. That putt can be tricky with Calvin's release angle. Sometimes he gets that nose down, and nose down in a headwind can get slammed.
Trying to think of another player like that we've seen in the past. Maybe a Matt Bell.
Sure. Yeah, like
Yeah,
when
sure.
When
Good.
they're on the dance floor, they're definitely dancing.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah.
Perfect start for Calvin. Watch out.
This looks perfect. Off the basket. Now it's rolling. It's headed for the OB. This needs to sit. Oh my goodness. It's safe. Right on the line. She's going to have about a 30-foot putt for the win. Okay, here we go. The putt is up. Boom, it's in. Strong side with authority. What an incredible moment. Yes.
Hole 4, 441-foot par 4. Very, very narrow gap all the way down with terrible rough on both sides. You got to miss this first tree, start drifting left. Anything up here beyond this big guy is the garden spot, right where you want to be, and then you're just looking to shape a little shot up here past these last couple of trees near this slopey green. Try to get something short so you don't have to worry too much about your birdie look.
I think when you think of Waco, it's very easy to think of like hole 18, but I oftentimes think of hole 4. And this is like one of the trickiest pickles on the course, maybe even on tour. I don't think there's another hole like it.
No, it's definitely that Texas thing. That's a horrible reaction.
Yikes. Dang. You just have to stay somehow on the left side fairway. And
We see a lot of people rolling the dice on that left-hand side. Watch this one.
jeez.
Better result, worse shot.
Still is going to be very difficult, I think, for Adam to get to the pin from there.
Really, I think because he's so far back, the sidearm if you play a fairly
That's good.
easy shot, you can get to circle's edge. It's the guys who try to push it all the way to the pin where it gets really tricky.
Great bounce out.
Wow.
That makes a big difference. That goes left. He's pitching out, goes where it does now, and he can advance up the fairway easily.
It's wild how this works. I mean, the woods here are so dense that, like, you're right. There's no like situation like, wow, I got lucky. I can actually advance the disc. You're pitching out. If you're in the woods,
Yeah.
you get 30 feet. This looks great.
That right side comes in pretty fast, though.
And like you said, Adam has a play, just narrowly.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Misses
a
that
couple,
one, just-
a couple feet from getting that. He played it the right way. It didn't look like he was trying to get something to flip up. He was just.
I mean, that's almost impressive to see Calvin get 50 feet.
I mean, that's the thing about Adam's game is, especially with the sidearm, he's not a flip up guy. He's a point, shoot, make the putt. He'll cut 40 feet off the hole because he knows he can just make it from there.
Nice shot from James.
Yeah, well played hole so far. This shot is very weird because it's so short. And it's so hard to put the brakes on. Calvin puts the brakes on with the help of a tree, and he'll have about 25 feet left for the par. Can't blame Adam for laying that one up. The Brazos is looming large right behind the basket. There are some bushes and some shrubberies down there at the bottom of the hill that can stop your disc from going OB, but no point in bringing those into play. Might be seeing those right now.
Good reaction to stay in bounds. Yeah, very situational too. I think Adam goes for that on any other card.
Yeah, if he's chasing.
Yep.
And, not that he has to start playing match play with anyone right now, but he's tied with Calvin, and Calvin is in no danger of passing him here.
It just feels to me like the play of somebody who's secure in their game plan. And
Sure.
do I really need to bring in a big number? No, I feel great about my chances to birdie the next 4 or 5.
Very solid save. A scramble here for Calvin. .441 feet, and yet it netted 9 double bogeys. You get in the woods here, and it feels like you can't get out. If people aren't comfortable with taking their medicine, I mean, it turns into a 6. That's what this hole does. So James gets 1 stroke closer to our leaders now. He is tied with Calvin at 3 under, a solid start. These first 5 or 6 holes, you're looking to get at least 4 of them. So these guys are on a good pace.
Hole 5 is pretty basic. Par 3, 264. Hit this hillside coming up the hill here, and it's about all you're looking for. Sometimes you can get a bad reaction off that, or clear the hill, maybe go a little bit deep.
Yeah,
but you're aiming for that hill. Whatever you throw the straightish, that's what you're doing here.
That's pretty low for James. That's going to take a lot. Obviously, he's shown us he has range so far this round, but yeah, he needs that about 10 feet higher.
Very finicky little line here, because if you do go higher, you can't see it on the camera, but there are a lot of high limbs that'll stop you right in your tracks. You kind of need to aim at the hillside. Like that's right under them. Catches some on the right. It's putt though. Seen a lot of putts made from there in the past couple seasons.
And somewhat surprising to see Adam go with a fast disc.
Oh, nice.
Okay. That's perfect. You know what I mean, though? He throws that zone that he's had in his bag forever so well. And at 264, even though it does play uphill, he's got 320, 330 feet with that zone all day, and it's a very straight line. Surprising to see him feel more comfortable with.
Yeah, I played the first round with him. He did go zone. I told him the same thing I've been telling you.
Oh, so yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Well, tell him what you told me.
Oh yeah, well, I guess I could. Jerm was just going mid-range here in practice, and I said, "Man, you don't got to paint the most beautiful picture anyone's ever seen just to get a birdie here. Just take out your Firebird, give her a little whippity-doo, and it'll be there." And I don't know. I don't think that. I'm not trying to say that's why Adam made any kind of change, but he threw the zone perfectly in the first round and appears to have gone to a fairway driver for this one.
Yeah, I believe you called my par that I subsequently received a wiggly par.
Yep, that's how it felt to me.
Proctor off the band, a good effort, and Nikko now off the band.
Well, I think that the play with a mid-range or something, if you hit the hill, it's less likely to skip up. And I think that's an errant shot from Adam, although he hits the koozie and stops right there. If he misses that, like I said in the whole preview, that's going way back there by where those spectators are standing, and that's not your favorite spot to be on this hole. He's trying to hit the hill with that faster speed, skip up the hill, park job.
Absolutely.
So Adam now outright leader, and he joins Calvin and James at 3 under apiece. Surprising to see only one birdie in the hole, but for some reason, hole 5 just plays that way sometimes. I mean, 264, you wouldn't imagine that a fairly open shot like that would give this card troubles, but man, there's a lot of these holes out here that are they just keep you in check.
As we look at hole 6, little par 3 down to the right, I got to shout out James Proctor for a non-disc golf related reason. Over the offseason, he set himself a goal. He ran, and he competed in a marathon and finished it. And that impresses me, like, because he's not a slightly built guy. Like, he's not overweight by any stretch. He's in good shape, but he's a big dude.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it impresses me more when a bigger guy, like, commits to something like that, and he ran a marathon. So I was following his journey on social media, and I was proud to see him achieve that goal that he set for himself.
That story just got me winded just thinking about it.
Yeah, when I think that might be why, because I know you, it feels like, how could a big guy ever run a marathon?
Take it easy. Adam inside right with the forehand zone. That's a shot he wishes he'd have back. This was in the bag for him.
Yeah, that boy thick.
He is.
He's thick.
He's strong.
Yeah.
And he's parked.
Yeah, and he's parked.
Yeah. You know a guy's thick when his neck goes straight up into his head. Bam.
Calvin doesn't do that.
No.
He might be the farthest opposite. And inside the tree at the corner that you just have to beat to the left side, catches the base of it.
Don't see a lot of holes like this out there. I was thinking about that the other day. This is one of those. This is like a shot you throw on a par 4, kind of coming into a really tough.
Yeah.
Or maybe a par 5 second shot. You find yourself like, oh, I got to get a little tricky shot to get down this hill. You don't see a lot of par 3s like this on tour.
Ooh, good run. I love it, though.
I do, too. I honestly think that Waco is one of those courses where I wish there were 3 or 4 of them on tour. We do get a lot of that golf style, and people like seeing those long shots, but correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but I think people like seeing these players deal with the woods and shaping and sculpting shots.
Well, and there's just a lot of nice variety. You know, you have some length, not as much as most courses, but you also have some of these little tricky ones, and clearly they present problems. You know, it's not like you could look at the UDISC stats and go, 267, and then later we got a 213. What a cakewalk. But you're going to see great players taking pars on these holes all the time.
Well, and you're going to see really nobody's ever going to run away.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough to run away at this tournament with so many good players, and the holes are so short. You're not throwing fairway to fast driver into greens while other people are throwing putters in.
Sure.
Everybody has the same shots kind of coming into the greens, and that equals a lot of birdies.
And Dr. Proctor up to 4 under now. He is parked, one back of the lead once again. Now he is tied with Calvin. As we take a look at that leaderboard check-in, like you said, Paul, it's just tight on the leaderboard. I mean, just 2 strokes separating first place to tie for 13th. Incredible. I mean, and there's a bunch of players at 12 as well.
Opportunity to make a big move here on the short par 4 7th. Certainly eagleable. I believe we did have an eagle already in the event here. Austin Hannum, if memory serves.
Yes.
If you throw that nice forehand that kind of flips left and then finds its way down to the bottom of this bowl or even onto that staircase on the far side, very makeable shot. See if any of these guys dial up the aggression and go for that line.
Most guys you see are going to do this play right here, or at least they're trying to, because this is ideal. I mean, this puts James in an opportunity to run a near 100-footer, maybe something like that.
Yeah, that got a really nice straight carry, pushing up towards that little ravine.
And Adam nearly matches the line. This will be a little bit more left. This is kind of where you see most of those backhands kind of fade to. Getting that flip up that James got, that's ideal.
And I expect from over there he might need to go forehand and hyzer. Not that he's uncomfortable with that, but as you get farther over there, you sort of cut off your angle.
Which is why I think we see Calvin go putter off the tee there.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrifice a bit of distance, give himself that Toro or Rhino type approach. And Nikko using the whole fairway, but a decent kick. He's not out of birdie range by any means. Somewhat surprised in the calm round 1 to not see any 2s. But yeah, we actually have already a couple of them on the day, as his card is trying to add to that total. And if there were ever a textbook Nikko shot, there is one of them right there.
Maybe that'll get him going. Slow start, but good recovery there.
That was pretty close to that one tree that can be kind of a bugaboo coming into the green.
Here you see that forehand.
Yeah, you called it.
Hyzer.
Oh,
beautiful.
Just flashing the chains. Great effort from there. And why not? Why not? Oh. That would have been solid. But yes, Joel Freeman and Austin Hannum.
Wait, Austin got it again?
Austin Hannum got it. And yeah, you already mentioned it.
He's deuced it twice?
No, he did not get it in round 1. He just got it in round 2.
Oh.
And then Joel Freeman was actually inside the circle for his eagle.
Wow, nice.
I remember playing with Aaron Gossage last year before the whole Worlds run. I mean, obviously he's been a solid player and we've known that, but he just threw a nuke off the tee and it was just like boom, boom, and it was under the basket. I mean, just solid bullseye, 2 feet away from the pin, and it got there in about 1.3 seconds. That's how fast that guy's arm speed is. It's just insane to me.
Nice slow-mo angle here. James just floating over the canyon.
And we have our first star frame of the card of the day.
Hole 8 is one of the trickiest little buggers you're going to ever face on a disc golf course. 213 feet doesn't seem like that big a deal, but when you got a nice little slope on the back side of it, and with one of the tighter gaps you see a lot of people land short and then running little 40-footers, and it gets wiggly. And
I know all about those wiggly pars.
Oh, there's
Hey.
a lot of wiggly boats.
Yes.
Yeah, James has to be careful. That's that spot that you're just talking about. That can be problematic. Almost too close to think about laying up, but the price for a miss is high. Adam missing his height. See if Calvin can dial this up right. And this is going to need to slow down. Oh, yeah. Putting the brakes on. Very nice.
Rhino?
Sweet.
Or is that putter? Like an AVR.
I missed it. I didn't see that one.
I don't know.
It grabbed pretty tight and got down quick. That's why I was wondering.
He does throw those DX AVR X3s quite a bit for the straight shots.
Okay, so similar disc as the Rhino. I just thought it was interesting how it looked like you were right. It had a little speed, but then it kind of coasted down and had great ground play. That tells me that it's a little more overstable and has more of a catchy bottom.
Nikko having a lay up, missing his drive just a bit to the left. Adam doing the same, but what decision does James do here?
Full sends. God, if I had his putt.
Yeah. And, okay, good reaction. That's the best. The nervous runs that danger is looming.
Yeah, you really can gain confidence from a miss, from that distance on a shot like that.
I mean, I think that the good thing, he didn't miss it low, which is fine if you do, but from there it showed the confidence. He missed that just high. That thing could have dropped. James has a very kind of a lofty up to down putt, and so when he gets that height right and it just kind of nose dives down, that's when he's at his his range seems like he can get up to 60 feet.
And we just recently talked to James on the practice screen about that exact thing. Friends of the channel will remember Las Vegas when he made our coverage. He was all over the course. Bogey, birdie, bogey, birdie,
Yeah,
bogey,
he
bogey,
had
birdie.
one par.
And we talked to him the next day, and he said, man, I'm taking confidence from it. I made a ton of shots.
Yeah.
I had these miscues, but my game is, the highlights were also there. And we're talking about, maybe you rather do it that way.
Sure.
He shot
If you're gonna shoot even
with one par.
That's pretty unheard of.
It's kind of amazing.
And these guys would be taking a lot of confidence into the back nine if they can give themselves an opportunity for birdie on the tricky par 4 ninth. It is a very straight shot to get down into the bowl off the tee, and then a very short shot from there if you're able to execute that off the tee. But it is a very specific line, and Calvin just narrowly misses that. If that just breaks over a foot to the right, he's loving it. We haven't mentioned, I don't think in our whole preview, this little early crossover branch dictates the height off the tee, which is really what makes this such a specific line.
It forces James into the ground there, and that happens a lot. You certainly cannot afford to hit it. So you see a lot of players throw a little too low.
Adam going zone off the tee, and
Eesh.
these are all going to be scrambling. And there's no easy scramble here on 9. It becomes almost impossible if you kick left or right, and I don't think anyone's done that. But we haven't seen anyone get a lot of distance off the tee yet.
Needs to fade. Not quite. That's going to be cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good shot. I like the idea. Made the gap pretty big there.
Yes.
Going from left to right. It just didn't have the want at the end.
Yeah, that baby flex play for the backhand throwers is pretty ideal for the shape.
Oh, that was
Ew.
almost perfect.
Yeah. It looked a bit wide out of his hand, but it was using all the fairway, and in the end, it was a little bit wider than it needed to be. And now Adam's in big-time danger.
Good shot, setting up very tricky approach to the green.
Pushes a little long. I think I might have seen it trickle just back down. And
Yeah.
see if he can stick a foot in there and throw a little forehand.
I don't think it's too long, but it is a little long. Sometimes the best drives you'll see, or seemingly the best looking drives, end up hitting that bank on the long side of the fairway. And if you outdrive the bowl, it's essentially the same as any of these short drives because you just can't approach the pin if you're up in those woods. Adam doing the smart thing there, not trying to do any sort of crazy flick roller to save the par. It would have been a hero shot times 3 if he had given himself any sort of look from back there. Just conservatively accepting the bogey here. And Calvin, on the short side of that bankment here, he's going to have to make a long putt to save his par.
Nasty root. No forward skip. This is fantastic.
Very good, yeah.
And you can see why that green is so touchy as you approach. There are bushes and all sorts of annoying things on the backside of that green.
Pretty smooth release on that short shot from James. Catches the last tree, but that was nice. Same with Nikko.
Yeah, that's an expertly thrown shot, and it might not look it, but it is a very difficult and awkward throw to make.
Wow.
Okay, what a save.
Great putt. Look at the line on this. All kinds of trees to deal with.
This is when I think, when Calvin is, I would say, my pick for best player in the world is when he's making those. I mean, because if he's making his putts, forget about it. He just puts himself in position all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're catching high right and getting those catches, anybody's going to be dangerous when you're a little bit off and still making putts. Because those baskets don't like to catch that right side normally. And these are more of a center. They like it center.
All things considered, 1 over for our card. Or was that 2 over? No, yeah, 1 over for our card in hole 9. That's some good disc golf there. None of those guys were in position, and Adam, the only person to sacrifice a stroke, not too bad. But that puts Calvin up in first place on our card. But they are chasing a guy named Cole Rodon right now who is putting together a solid round so far. Kevin Jones in the mix, Gannon Burr obviously doing some good things. A lot of familiar names have been on that leaderboard, including one Mr. Nate Sexton.
Doing what I can out there, having a good start for sure. Thank you guys again for joining us. Thanks to our Founders Club and all our supporters. We're going to be back with the back 9 from round 2 here at the Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Prodigy.